Hi, I'm Walker&Williams, and today we are in for a roller coaster ride, so you better strap in. You know I'm a big believer in the HBAR Project, but I'm always looking for something to knock HBAR off its throne. Is Solana my money's new home? Let's find out. This, by the way, is going to be close. Okay, pedigree's all right. The founder is Anatoly Yakovenko. He worked at a company called Qualcomm as a software engineer for circa 12 years. So Qualcomm, massive company. I think they're a Fortune 500, which means they're one of the 500 biggest companies by turnover in America. Massive company, so one of the biggest in the world. And he was a software engineer. I don't know if he was any good, but presumably he was. Circa 494 million coins total supply. Just under 500 million because they had a bit of a scandal. They got caught doing something, but there isn't too much about it on the internet. They paid somebody or they loaned somebody some coins on a futures contract. I don't know, but they did something a bit suspect, not ideal, to be quite honest, and not the way you want to really set out your stall and start your business. But the internet doesn't seem to be too bothered by it, so let's move on. 272 million coins in current circulation. Now, unlike a lot of the cryptos, they are time-stamped. So the transactions are time-stamped. Why is that important? Super important for loads of different reasons. The main ones being the adoptability of platforms. So what does that mean? For example, if Treyarch, one of the biggest computer game companies in the world, if not the biggest computer game company in the world, billion-dollar industry, a multi-billion-dollar industry, if they came to Solana and said, we want to use your platform to run our computer games on, they wouldn't be able to do it if it weren't for the timestamp. Why? Because if you shoot me in the game before I shoot you, everyone needs to know, you need to know, and I need to know that you shot me first. But if there is no signature, no timestamp on the transaction, on the gun being fired, nobody knows if you shot first or I shot first, so nobody knows who's dead and who's alive. That's one really obvious example of why timestamps are really important. But it's also for things like Hedera Hashgraph was used, as we all know, for tracking the vaccine temperatures for COVID-19. Now, you couldn't do that if you also couldn't timestamp. But for example, COVID vaccines. The freezer breaks down, and that's fine as long as the vaccine doesn't go over this temperature, X temperature, for so much time, for 8 minutes. As long as it only goes over that temperature for 4 minutes, the vaccines are completely safe and fine. If it's 8 minutes or longer, we've got to bin the lot. You wouldn't know if you didn't have the timestamps. So really important. Contracts, submitting work. A university, your dissertation has got to be on Monday by midday. If you can't timestamp, you don't have the proof. The college doesn't have the proof that you handed in before that or after that, neither do you. Loads of different reasons. They can complete 50 to 65,000 transactions per second. So as far as I'm aware, they are the fastest. Solana are currently the leading champions of speed in this space. And those are confirmed, and complicated transactions as well. My understanding is not it's wallet-to-wallet transactions, so complicated transactions. Smart contract enabled. So on my previous videos in HBAR versus ADA, I explained about smart contracts and why that's important. So I'm not going to bore you if you're a fan of the channel and you've seen our videos. If you're not and you're new to this channel, then please subscribe, go back. You can have a look at some of the videos and you'll get more of the content, particularly with the HBAR, because I won't go through it in fine detail because I do HBAR versus every week, so I don't want to bore you with that. It's smart contracts enabled. It means other people, other devs can build on other developers can build on the network, and people already are. So USDT, another crypto that is pinned to the dollar, and it's a way of being a currency within the currencies, if you like. You can cash out into USDT, and that will always, you can't speculate on it unless you're speculating on the dollar, because it'll always sit exactly where the dollar is and sort of tracks the dollar. Chainlink, Terra, they've all built on the Solana network. Cost to transact, really important, 0.000, that's 3025. Staking on nodes, there's no lower limit, so you can stake on the node with just one coin. The problem with that is that each coin's a vote. So I've put there one coin equals one chance to be leader. which is unfair. It punishes the poor and rewards the rich, which is kind of counterintuitive to the whole ethos of the crypto space, in my opinion. And what that means is, if you imagine you get rewarded for completing a transaction. So a transaction happens and someone gets picked at random to record that transaction on a piece of paper, write it down. So if you imagine I'm stood in a room on my own and you're stood next to me and somebody else is stood next to me and so on and so forth. There's two people transacting. Bob is buying a Snickers, so he gives 1 Solana for the Snickers. I witness it, we all witness it. Now only one of us gets a chance to write it down and it be on the blockchain forever. Now that's picked at random. However, the reason it punishes the poor and rewards the rich is that Max stood on his own with his pen and pad is one person. I've got 1 vote. I've got 1 chance of being picked to record the transaction. But if I'm at 1 coin, but I can have a friend with me. So you're stood on your own. You only have 1 coin because that's all you can afford. I've got 100,000 coins. I've got 100,000 lottery tickets. I've got 100,000 chances of being picked to record the transaction. It's like I've brought my mates, my entire family, and everyone I've ever met, plus all you guys, stood with me, all with your hands up, which can be picked on the vote. And you've come on your own because you can't afford, you haven't got any friends, you can't afford any more coins, you're stood on your own. So that isn't the case with HBAR. So it's a small point. It's more of a moral point. Well, it's not just a moral point actually, because I've put there, it's easier to corrupt. So clearly, if you have more coins, you have more voting power, and in theory, you could have the majority vote, and then obviously manipulate the crypto. So price today is £29.05 or $40.07. Over to HBAR, world-class pedigree and getting stronger. Again, not going to go through this in super detail because if you do want super detail on HBAR, click any one of the videos in the links in the description below, and you can kind of start your journey and learn why HBAR is such an awesome force to behold. 50 billion coins total supply, but if you can't bother doing that, by the way, Google, LG, so on and so forth. 50 billion coins total supply, 9.2 billion coins in circulation. I'm going to go through each of the points, then I'm going to go back to them and just point out where the winners and losses for each. Timestamp transactions plus proof of history plus Byzantine proof. So it's ABFT levels of security, which Solana isn't. 10,000 transactions per second, but to be fair to HBAR, they're not running it yet at full speed, and they have claimed that they'll be doing at least 100,000 transactions per second shortly when they put the pedal to the metal, but it could be even infinite. Nothing can be infinite, but you know what I mean. As good as makes no difference, infinite. Smart contract enabled, wider applications and adoption due to security at scale. We'll come back to that. Fair to all staking, and the price today is £0.16 or 21 cents or $0.21. Okay, so that's a brief overview of the 2 cryptocurrencies. Now, there's a couple of points on this board that make a massive, massive difference. One of them is a killer blow for me, okay, which means I won't be investing. And I don't think you should either, but you can do what you like. It depends on your personal situation, of course. Okay, so the biggest blow, if you were ever going to argue, if I was ever going to argue that HBAR, you shouldn't buy HBAR or own HBAR or speculate on HBAR, is not because of the project. Anyone who says HBAR is a flash in the pan, you know, is corrupt, is undecentralized, all that stuff, hippie nonsense, it's irrelevant. They're embarrassing themselves. No one can argue that this isn't a solid project. It is a very solid project. In fact, it's one of, if not the most solid project in terms of the backing, and the merit of the speed of transaction, the security level, and so on and so forth. This, just purely from speculation, which is why we're all here, I guess. You want to make money, so this is a big problem. From a purely speculative point of view, 50 billion coins total supply with 9.2 billion coins in circulation at the moment is a problem. Why? I've created a video, the link's in the description below, explaining why it shouldn't be a problem. 50 billion coins times the price of 1 coin is the market cap. That's true. But the market cap has absolutely no bearing whatsoever on the value, or shouldn't have any bearing whatsoever on the value of each coin. But it does, unfortunately. It's the world we live in. There are a lot of things in this world that shouldn't happen, but do. So we're just going to have to accept the fact that there are 50 billion coins, and that puts a lot of even institutional level investors off. It shouldn't, but it does. So that is the HBAR's Achilles heel from a speculator's point of view. That's a concern. It's a concern for me, and it should be a concern for you. That said, if you haven't got into HBAR yet, it is at 16p and historically has been at 40p and will get back there. So I still even think, even if we're not talking thousands, hundreds, tens of pounds, there's certainly money to be made still with HBAR. How much money might be limited by the 50 billion coins. Okay, so that is a problem. You know, it's undeniable that that is a serious issue for us for speculating when speculating in HBAR. Other than that, these are very, very similar technologies. A massive blow for Solana and a massive win for HBAR is this one, which is why it's underlined. ABFT level of security, Byzantine proof. Solana isn't, simple fact, black and white, and that is why if you look at Solana, do your own research, do your own due diligence, and have a look on their own website who's using their platform, and it's all people in the crypto space. There's no early detection in Syria, there's no Holocaust survivor recordings, there's no live music streaming, there are no bank Swift bank style payments, there's no iCloud type Google, and so on and so forth. Whereas HBAR, because it has that level of security, even though it's a fifth slower than Solana, they have equal amounts of adoption, but Solana has it in just one niche industry, very, very niche if you look at it, you know, compared to the world markets of crypto. Whereas HBAR has got mass adoption in loads of different industries. Why? Security, because it's secure at a scale, and that's what a really, really important thing. Why is it important to the price? Well, because the more people that know about it, the higher the price goes. Generally speaking, supply and demand. People can't buy things they don't know exist. So the more people that know about it, the better. People in the crypto space already know of Solana. So the fact that Chainlink are using Solana is not a massive PR addition in the sense of spreading the word, because people in the crypto space, most of them already have heard of Sol. But for LG or Google to be using HBAR technology or HBAR's platform, it exposes people who otherwise wouldn't have learned anything to do with HBAR and therefore may invest and speculate in it. And the price goes up. So that's the very, very, very equal, you know. And I've said this once before, and I said it with ADA. If HBAR didn't exist, or if HBAR collapsed today for some reason, you know, it was hacked, okay? So someone hacks HBAR and it collapses today, where would I be in the crypto space? 100%. This is where I'd be at the moment, Solana. It is incredible tech. You know, it's live. It's on the mainnet. The mainnet's live. It's at a beta phase. It's good. However, and this for me is the killer blow, purely from a speculative point of view. The price today is £29.05. The price of HBAR today is 16p. So I've written some examples down the bottom here. If you have £1,000 to invest in crypto and you're saying, Max, I've got £1,000 to invest, I've looked at all the cryptos and I agree with you, these two are the standout sort of champions. You know, these are Liverpool and Manchester United. I don't watch football, so please don't break me if they're not the best teams, but you get my point. £1,000 would buy you 34.4 coins of Sol. £10,000 buys you 340 coins. £100,000 only buys you 3,400 coins. If the price of Sol goes to £100, your £1,000 investment today goes to 3,440. Your investment of £10,000 goes to 34 grand, and your investment of 100 grand goes to 340 grand. So for you to invest £1,000, and for this to triple, which is, you know, no small feat at 29 quid, that's a lot of money already. So for that to more than triple and go to £100, you only make £3,440. Well, that's like betting on the favourite horse at any horse race. You know, your odds are like 3 to 4 or 5 to 6 or whatever. Who does that? So, I mean, people do, but it's not the way to get substantially wealthy, unless you've got you know this is a sure thing and you can bet 10 million quid. So the other thing I've done for you is I've applied, let's assume that Sol goes to Bitcoin glass ceiling price. So the Bitcoin glass ceiling price is the highest that any crypto has ever been, which is Bitcoin, and the highest Bitcoin's ever been is £44,000. So I'm not saying you can't get through that because it's made of glass, you can't get through it, but at the moment that's the ceiling. It's around circa £44,000. If you put £1,000 in today into Sol, and by some miracle, it's not impossible given the tech, but by some miracle, Sol just breaks away, it just goes nuts, and the whole world's talking about Solana, and it goes to £44,000, equal to the highest ever recorded price on crypto, your £1,000 will be worth 1.5 million. Now you might be saying, well, £1,000, 1.5 million, that's not a bad day at the office, Max, and you'd be absolutely right. But what are the odds of Solana getting to £44,000? Very, very, very slim indeed, I believe. So it's a lot of money, 1.5 million pounds, don't get me wrong, but I believe that it's less money than the chance of it happening, if you see what I mean. So the odds of it happening are far greater than the amount that you get for your £1,000 bet, your £1,000 investment. £10,000 would be £14.9 million. Again, £49 million. You don't have to work for the rest of your life. You're sorted, your kids are sorted, your family's sorted, your extended family's sorted at 15 million quid. In fact, your kids are sorted. And if you watch this YouTube channel, you know how to look after money, your great-great-great-grandchildren are sorted. However, you've got to invest £10,000 today to see that return, and this miracle's got to happen. £10,000 is a lot of money. You know, it's a deposit on a house. £100,000, well, if you've got £100,000 to spend, I don't need to tell you that there are better things to buy. But just so you know, you'd get a £149 million return. But you've got to sell your house if you're not, you know, stinking rich and you haven't got £100,000 to throw around. You've got to sell your house, hope that the miracle happens, and for that bet, you'd get £149 million in return. However, with HBAR, the price is only 16 pence. So £1,000 gets you 6,250 coins, as opposed to 34 coins. So if you've only got £1,000, and nobody, not me, no one can tell you that this is going to the moon for sure, this is going to the moon for sure, or that this isn't, or that isn't. No one can tell you that. No one knows for sure, because no one knows what's going to happen tomorrow. So if you've only got £1,000, you've got to make an educated guess. This is the educated bit. So we've got that now, and you've got to guess which is going to go to the moon. Do you want 34 coins for your £1,000 or do you want £6,250 for your £1,000? If again it goes to £100, with Sol you get £3,440 return off your 1,000. With HBAR, if you invest £1,000 today and it goes to £100, you've got £625,000 returned. Now that's a life-changing sum of money. That's a serious, serious start to a business. It's a nice car, it's your mortgage paid off, or your house bought for cash if you wanted to. Not that I recommend you do that, but if that's what you want to do, you know, it's life-changing. For £1,000, for HBAR to go to £100, you've got £625,000 return. For Sol gets to £100 today, from today, tomorrow we wake up and Sol's at £100, you've made £3,440. You can't even quit your job. £10,000 buys you 62,500 coins, you'd have 6.25 million. So do you want 34 grand or 6.25 million? 100 grand invested in HBAR today and it goes to £100 would return you 62.5 million pounds. I'm just for a bit of fun, if you invest that same money and HBAR goes to Bitcoin's 44,000 quid, you'd have for £1,000 today, you'd have 275 million. For £10,000 today, and HBAR goes to Bitcoin's price, you'd have 2.75 billion with a B. If you put £100,000 in HBAR today, and HBAR goes to £44,000, you'd have 27.5 billion, and I think that will put you in the top 5 richest people in the world. Believe it or not, it wouldn't put you at number 1. To put it more simply, at £100, if Sol goes to £100, you've tripled your money. It's times 3 your money. So you put £1,000 in today, you triple your money if it goes to 100. If HBAR, you buy HBAR today and it goes to £10, you've times 62 your money. So think on that. If Sol goes to £100, you've 3 times your money. If HBAR goes to £10, 10 times less, you've 62 times your money. So even if you believe that you disagree with me and you think the Sol's got the edge, or you think they're equal, it's clear to me based on the price today which one to invest in. Now, by the way, I haven't got £1,000 to spend. I'm in a fortunate position where I've got a little bit more than that to spend, and I already own a lot of HBAR. And I'm still not going to invest in Sol. And the reason I'm not going to invest in Sol is because it is a punt. It's a gamble. Because what are the odds of it going to £44,000? I think slim to none. And even if I did risk £1,000 and it does go to £44,000, it only returns 1.5 million, which is a lot of money, but the chance of it happening are a lot less. I can get you better odds with the same return than I think Sol has of going to £44,000. I haven't done maths because I've just been making it up, but my gut tells me that Sol going to £44,000 a coin is highly, highly, highly unlikely. As is HBAR, by the way. I'm not saying HBAR is, but if neither are, and we both agree, well, they're going to go to a tenner and they're going to go to 100, it's clear to me which one you should buy. Even if you think that is better tech. If you're here for speculative reasons, you're here to make money and become wealthy, and good luck to you. I hope this makes you wealthy beyond your wildest dreams. That it's clear to me which one you should buy, purely based on today's price. I hope you found this video interesting. It's a little bit different than usual because normally I don't have to talk about price because HBAR just wipes the floor with whoever it's up against. But not today. I have to say, I'm going to say it again. If you're in Sol and you got in cheap, I highly recommend, if you got in really cheap, get out now because the price is great. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think the future for Sol's price is? Am I right? Am I wrong? Is £44,000 impossible? Is £44,000 guaranteed? Is it inevitable? Has it got to happen? I don't know. Do you know? Thanks ever so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a like. I'm so glad to be back, and thank you so much for all your support through my time with COVID and all that. So thank you so much for your support. I really, really appreciate all the kind words. Good to be back. Please leave some comments, give us a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks ever so much for watching. Take care.